Everyone. I'm on. So let's start this class. Uh, Today's topic is like until now what we have done in the previous class. What we have done, we have discovered about the controllers. We have learned about the services. Correct. We have like how our browser communicate with our controller and controller communicate with service. So is it clear what we have done yesterday? How many of you attended the last class? Like uh, until now, what we are doing, we are just creating a what we did. We just created a controller. We have created a service. We have written the business logic, but we haven't saved anything. We haven't do anything to give a real life exam, real life project, or we haven't done anything inside our project which will include database. Correct. So yesterday what we have done, we have only communicated with controllers, we have communicated with services. We have written our business logic. It was not that much great business logic. We have written small business logic, or we have seen how our repository or how our controller communicate with services. Correct. So we have learned about the some things like why we need dependency injection. We have understood about the dependency injection. Correct. And what is the dependency? Can anyone tell what is the dependency? In common words, what is the dependency? Dependency is like one class depends on another class, correct? So we have dependency injection inside our Java Spring Boot, which is known as which is a property, or we can say is a design pattern where Spring creates required object and injects them into other class automatically. So this is our dependency injection, correct? And what is the Spring container? Spring container create student service, then inject, then control. Spring container is a container where our objects are lying, or we can say where our beans are lying inside our Spring container. Correct? We have inversion of control as well, which means Spring control object creation instead of the developer. So, and what is the Spring Bean? Objects managed by Spring container. Correct. We have seen these things yesterday. What is the Spring Bean? Spring Bean is a object managed by Spring container. Correct. So, whenever Spring C at the rate service or at the rate REST controller, it creates beans automatically. Correct. So, when we have done a program for yesterday class, we have created a student service. So inside our student container, what we have? Student service object and student controller object. First, what we have to do? We have to create an object by ourselves, or we can say developer have to create the object, but we have shifted that control from developer to Spring. So that's how we can control our Spring dependency injection. So how we can perform dependency injection? There are two ways we have seen. What are the two ways? First was auto wire. We can use at the rate auto wire and directly the or directly perform the dependency injection over our services or any class. Correct. Another way what we have. Another way was constructor injection. We have another way to perform the dependency injection was constructor injection. So this is the most used, we can say it is the most used method inside our industry. Correct? So any doubt until that? Anyone have any doubt until that? or everything is clear till now? How we control our dependencies, how we create services, correct? So after that, what we need, we haven't communicated with database yet, correct? Inside our Spring Boot project, we haven't connected or we haven't communicated with our database. Is it correct? So we haven't communicated with our database till now. So today in this class, we will try to communicate with database as well. Clear? So we can say, can our service directly talk to MySQL? If I see and I will ask, I have a question. Can services directly talk to MySQL? Can our services directly talk to MySQL? Yes or no? Yes or no? Can our services directly talk to MySQL? If I say technically, yes, our service is other than service, our uh, controller can also talk to MySQL directly. Our controller can also talk to our MySQL directly, but it should or not. Should it? Technically, yes, but should it? Should our services directly talk to MySQL? It is a bad practice, correct? It is a bad practice. We will not allow our MySQL services to, we will not allow our services to directly talk to MySQL, correct? So between this, we have a, before this, what we have a repository here. We need repository here. Answer is no, we need repository here. So here what we need repository. Here our repository roles comes. Problem with JDBC, what was the problem? Until this, what we are doing to connect with MySQL before Spring Boot, what we are trying to, what we are using to connect with our Spring, connect with MySQL, what we are using for this JDBC, correct? Before this, what we are using before Spring Boot, what we are using JDBC. Correct. So, what are the problems with JDBC? What are the problems we had with JDBC? What is the what are the problems we are facing in the JDBC? Like if we have to perform a operation using JDBC, what we have to do? We have to write long codes. Correct. What we have to do? What is the process to write a query, or what is the process we have to follow to perform a JDBC operation? First, we have to create a connection, correct? Inside our JDBC, what we have to do? We have to create a connection there. Then prepared statement, correct? Then we are using prepared statement there. Then result set. Then we have to create a result set there. We have to maintain try catch, or finally, correct? Then what we have to do? Then we have to close the connection. So these are the things we have to manage to perform a JDBC operation. So it is a long process, correct? If we have to perform a JDBC operation, each and every time, what we have to do? We have to perform a connection, create a connection. then we have to perform a prepared statement, then we have to prepare a result set, then what we have to do? We have to bind them inside our try case finally, then we have to close our connection. How much code we are how much code we are writing for a one insert query or select query here? Almost 40 lines. Correct. If there are multiple things inside our table, so what we have to do in one insert, we are writing almost 40 lines. So it will be a long procedure. Correct. If we have 100 tables, then what we will do? What we will do? We have multiple tables. What we have to do? We have to thousands of line code we have to write. We have to for every project or for every service we have to create a connection, SQL mapping, closing. There will be multiple things we have to perform there. Correct. So Bobby, repeatedly, what we are doing same thing repeatedly here. Correct. So this is the problem here. So to solve this, or we can say, can Java generate SQL automatically? Can our Java generate SQL automatically? Is it possible that our Java can generate SQL automatically? Till now, we are writing SQL queries again and again, and we have to repeat the code again and again. Can our Java generate SQL automatically? Can we do it? Yes or no? Can we do it? Our Java generate SQL automatically or not? Till now, it is not doing this, correct? Till now, it is not doing this. What we can do using Hibernate. We can use Hibernate here. Then what is this Hibernate now? What is this Hibernate now? Till now, it was not doing anything like it will generate SQL automatically. But we have something called as Hibernate. So what is the use of Hibernate? What is the Hibernate here? It is a ORM framework that automatically converts Java objects into database records and database records into Java objects. So what is the ORM? What is the Hibernate? It is a ORM, and then what is the ORM? Object Relational Management. Object Relation Management. So it is a ORM framework that automatically converts Java objects into database records and database records into Java objects. So what we are using result set, correct? Then we have to fetch data from our database. What we are doing? First, we are getting it in a result set. Then we are trying to print it or get each and every information from there. Correct? So our Hibernate help us to convert our Java objects directly into database records. We can directly convert our Java objects into database records and database records into Java objects, vice versa. We can do both. We can convert our Java objects into database records, and we can also convert our database records into Java objects. So this is the feature which we can get using Hibernate. Clear? Or we can say, like if we take an example, English, we have a language, English. Between this, we have a translator, and we are converted it into Hindi or any other language, correct? We are converting our English to Hindi, Hindi to English. So it can be a like a translator. We can see this Hibernate as a translator for our code as well. Like we can say Java Hibernate, then we have SQL. So both are different language. Java is another language, SQL is another language. We have a translator, Hibernate as a translator here. So our Java is converted into the SQL. SQL is converted into the Java. So this is the use of our Hibernate here. Why? Because our Java understands only objects. Java understands objects. Database understands rows. We can say Java understands objects, correct? And we can say database knows rows, correct? Java understands objects, but our database knows about rows only. Hibernate, what Hibernate do? Hibernate converts. Hibernate converts object to row to object. So it will do it automatically. So don't we won't have to perform any operation on this. It will convert automatically. So our object is converted to the rows and rows is converted to the object automatically. Yes. Clear? And what is ORM? ORM is a object relational management. Object relation management. So it maintains relations between our object and SQL, we can say, or tables. Now, what is JPA? What is JPA? We have Hibernate there. Then what is JPA? We can say JPA implements Hibernate. JPA implements Hibernate. Like if we say we have a mobile phone, correct? So everyone can have a different mobile phone companies. Like if I have to buy an Android phone, we have multiple options: Samsung, OnePlus, Xiaomi, and any other phone as well. But all are using Android, correct? They all are using Androids. It's a specification for it, correct? Companies, different companies are trying to implement that Android, correct? Similarly, JPA is a specification. JPA specification is Hibernate. It implements Hibernate. JPA implements Hibernate. So we have a JPA and JPA implements Hibernate. So we will not directly using Hibernate. We are using JPA inside our program or inside our Spring Boot project. We will be using JPA, which has implemented by Hibernate. Which is implementing the Hibernate. So Hibernate is implemented by our JPA and we are using JPA there. Or we can say JPA is a specification for ORM. Correct? Is it clear? So inside our Spring Boot, we can say inside our Spring Data JPA, Spring Data JPA is a Spring module built on top of JPA. So inside our Spring Boot, we have a Spring Data JPA. So Spring Data JPA is a Spring module built on top of JPA. that reduces boilerplate code by implementing. We will see how it works, but for now we will be seeing something like the theories for now. So um, by automatically generating. So when we are using Spring Data JPA, we won't need to implement our repositories. Correct? We don't have to implement each and every repository here. Correct? It automatically generates boilerplate codes for our repository implementation. So we don't have to write it again and again. So it will all handled by Spring Data JPA. Is it clear? So now we will see. We have an entity as well. What is the entity? What is the entity here? We can say entity will be a table for us. How it is like a table, or we can say student class. We have created a student class here, and it will be a student table inside our MySQL. It will be like a student table. We can say entity is equal to Java class mapped with database table. So our JPA, Spring Data JPA, what it will do? What it will do? It will map our student class with student table. If we create a student class with entity, it will convert it into the table. Is it clear? Is it clear? For this, if I create a new package here, so let's put entity. We have entity here, correct? So inside it, I will create a Java class name as student, correct? And here, if I write entity, so we don't have any dependencies till now, correct? We don't have any dependencies till now. So what we have to do? We have to insert some dependencies as well. From where we will get this dependency? From where we will get this dependency? From maven repository, correct? So here what we will do? We will search maven dependencies. Inside the maven repository, what we will get? Spring Data JPA. So on now, what we will do? We there are some vulnerabilities here. We will copy it inside it. We will paste our Spring Data JPA. We will try to remove the version and we will sync it. And after that, we will need, we will try to write entity. Still, we don't have Spring JPA. So what we have to do for it, what we have to do first, we will get Spring Data JPA or create a new project for now. Here we will search dependencies. So we need web, Spring Web, then JPA, then uh, what we also need After that, we got Hibernate already. MySQL driver. So we will also need MySQL driver here. Wait a minute. Okay. So what are the dependency we also need? MySQL connector as well. So we will search MySQL connector. We will search Spring Boot MySQL connector J. This the dependency we have. Correct. So we will get any of the dependency from here. We will download this dependency and insert it inside our pom.xml. Remove the version from here as well. Then what we will need? Uh, we will need Spring Boot dependency we had already. We have a Spring BAP dependency already here, correct? We have downloaded the Spring Data JPA as well. We have, this is the something we will discuss later. This is a Spring Doc Open API Starter Web MVC UI, which is used to create APIs documentation, which is a Swagger dependency. We can say it is a Swagger dependency. Then we have MySQL connector, correct? We have Spring Data JPA as well, or we can say Spring. We can for Spring Boot Starter Data JPA. We can have Spring Boot Starter Data JPA, and it will come from our Spring Framework.boot. It will come from our Spring Framework boot and we get Spring Boot Starter Data JPA. So we will use this. Inside this, we will get each and every required dependency we need. Correct? So now we will synchronize our Maven project. We will synchronize our Maven project. So it will download each and every dependency inside it. We can say it is resolving Maven dependencies. So it is successfully done. Correct? Now we also have something called as Lombok, but we will discuss it in the next class, I think. We don't need it till currently. So this is our dependencies have been established here. Now, see, we are getting some error here. What is this error? Application failed to start, failed to configure a data source URL, valid attribute is not specified, and no embedded data source could be configured. What is this issue? Failed to determine a suitable driver. If you want an embedded database, we have to use S2 database, HSQL database, or we can define our database here. So why it is giving us error? Because we haven't defined any database till now. Correct? We haven't defined our MySQL here. Correct? So to do this, we have to inside our application.properties, here we can define our Spring database username, password, and URL, or we can say we can provide how to connect our database through this program. So there will be something called as Spring. How we can define it? Inside the Spring application.property, we have to define the Spring URL, username, password. Correct. So for this, what we have to do is Spring dot data source. We have Spring dot data source dot URL. We have to define the URL here. So what was the URL for us? JDBC, MySQL. We have defined in the JDBC previously. Localhost, correct. Localhost. Then 3306 port number, and after that what we have call is, this is our DB name. So that's will be our student data source URL. Then what we have to provide this, provide the Spring data source dot data source dot username. So our username was admin here. Then we have to similarly provide the password as well. Correct. So we have to provide the password here. Dot password equal to admin123. Then we have to provide the something called as Spring dot JPA dot Hibernate dot DDL auto. So what it will do? It will, we will write it as update here. So it will automatically update our DDL commands using Hibernate. Then we have Spring dot JPA. What we have Spring dot JPA dot so SQL. What this command do? What this command do? We have to define the spring.jpa.showSQL. If we define it as true, we will see every query inside our terminal. So if we make it true, whenever we call any API, it will return the SQL query. It will show the SQL query inside our terminals. Clear? Then we have to add one thing as well, spring.jpa.properties dot hibernate dot format SQL. So what it will do? It will just format our SQL queries. So it will look clear. We can check it clearly. Now, is there any other issue? Our Spring application is started, correct? And see here, starting added connection pom.mysql cj. It has successfully started the connection between our MySQL. It has successfully connected our MySQL start complete. And after completion, what we got? We got MySQL connector J. We have got here MySQL dialect. And this is our URL, JDBC URL we have defined inside our application.properties. Correct. And after that, we know about catalog, which is college. It is undefined for now. And JDBC face size none pool. This is a other thing, but our server is connected to our MySQL, correct? So that it is too much easy to use our Spring application. When we are using Spring Boot, it is too easy to connect with our database. We just have to write the database details here, correct? We have written the database details inside the application properties, and a permanent connection with our database is created. We don't have to create a connection again, then we have to close this connection again. So it all handled by our Hibernate or JPA. Clear? Is it clear? How it will work? Now let's move to our student entity. So here what we will do, inside it we will write our entity. So from where we are getting our entity, Jakarta persistence. From Jakarta persistence, which is JPA. This is the full form of our Jakarta JPA, which is Jakarta persistence. JP stand for Jakarta persistence here. And inside it, what we are getting, entity. Clear? So we have created a student entity here. We have created a student entity here. Inside this student, what we can have? Inside this student, what we have? If we see inside our MySQL program, what we have inside our student? We had in ID, correct? So I will write something like this: at the rate ID, uh, at the rate ID here. So it will be imported from Jakarta persistent. So if we are writing at the rate ID before any number or integer value, it will take it as a identity. Correct. So here also we will write something called as generated value. What is the generated value? We will write a strategy inside it, generation type dot identity. So it will automatically, or we can say it will generate our identity using this strategy. Inside this, we will write private integer ID. Correct. We will write private integer ID. Then what we have? Private string name. We had private string name there. Then what we have? Private. Inside our student class, what we had? Private string name ID, and we have int a integer age. We also have age here. We have name here. We have city, private string city. We have private string city as well. Then what we have? We can also write private uh, double marks here. We can write private double marks here as well. Correct. So these are the some fields we can add inside our student class, and it will work as a, now this is our student class. Correct. Now how we will map our student class with table? How we will map it? So we have to write table here. We will write table here. Then inside it, what we will write? Students. Can we write it? If we write our table name equal to students, it will work. Correct. Before it, what we will do? We will connect with our MySQL. So we have college database, correct? So we have deleted our college database here, correct? So here what we will write? So inside our so database we won't have anything. Now what we will write? We will write something like create database college for now, correct? So our college database is created. Is it clear? We have created a empty college database. If I see here, what was the query for it? Uh, if we write select star from students, it will be error, correct? Because no students table is here, or we can say no student table existed till now inside our database. So we have created a student table here. Student table we have created here, and inside it we have created an ID, integer ID. Then we have name, age, city, marks. Clear? Now we have created this. Uh, what will happen when we rerun this code? For now, we will stop it. What will happen if we create, or we can say if we run this program? Our table will be created. Our table will be created for students. Then it will create id as well. Id will be using this thing generated value. What it will do, it will auto increment our id. It will give us auto increment for our id. So our id will be incremented automatically. And without id, if we haven't used this, what is the use of this? So Hibernate knows, or we can say Hibernate identify rows here. So using this at the rate ID, our Hibernate identifies rows here. Correct? So this is the use of our ID here. And using this, we can define table. Clear? So if we run this program, if we rerun this program, our database is connected. Now see this. When we have run this program, what we get? We get a query here. What is the query here? See this query. This query is generated automatically. We haven't generated anything. We haven't write any query here. Correct? We haven't write any query here, and we haven't did anything for the table life. We haven't write multiple lines of code, or we haven't defined anything here. Correct? So whatever Hibernate does, it created a table students. It created a table students automatically on code run. Whenever we try to run this code, it automatically created the student table. It created ID integer with not null auto increment. And here what it does, it created age, it created city, it created marks, it created name, it created primary key ID. It already set the our primary key as ID here. So we haven't written anything inside it, and it is automatically executed. Now if we do this, use college here, and after that we will run this. So what we get? Empty set. Correct? Why we get empty set here? Because it is generated by our Hibernate. Our Hibernate automatically generated a student table from this entity. Is it clear what is the use of entity? Is it clear what is the use of entity? Now, how to communicate with our database? We have just created a, here what we have created, we have created a table here. But how we will communicate with our JDBC, or how we communicate with our database now? We have just created a, here what we have done, we have just created a table till now. But how we will perform insert, how will perform read, how will be performing update, delete? Correct? So to perform those operation, we need repository. We need repository here. Repository will perform, using that repository we can perform those operations, or we can say we will just communicate. It is our repository. If we create a repository here, if I write repo, we have created a repository here, and inside this I will create, I have created a student repository here. So what will be the use of our repository? What it will do? Acts as communication layer between service and database. So our repository, what will our repository do? Repository act as communication layer between service and database. Uh, I will increase some size as well. 125 is clear now. So here what we will do, like the our repository, what our repository do, what our repository do, it act as a communication layer between service and databases. Correct. So here what we will write, how we will define a repository. First we will get our repository here. We will use our repository here, and annotation for the repository will be repository here. It is coming from org spring framework dot stereotype repository. Correct. Now see this, we have created a, for now we have created only, we have created a class here, but we won't have to create a class here. We can create interface, and inside using this interface we will extend JPA repository, and inside this repository what we have to provide, our student comma integer. So what we are doing here, see this, how to create a repository, how we create a repository inside our JPA, how we will create our repository here. See, we are not creating any class here. We are not creating any class here. We are not, I have explained here, like inside this, or where we have seen this. See this line. Spring Data JPA is a Spring module built on top of JPA that reduces boilerplate code. What is this boilerplate code? It will reduce boilerplate code and automatically generating repository implementation. It will automatically generating repository implementation. We don't have to implement, or we don't have to write the boilerplate code again and again. Our Spring Data JPA will automatically generating the repository implementation. So here we don't have to write any implementation. It is not asking us to write the implementation. What we have done, we have created an interface, a student repository here. Correct. We have created a student repository here using our interface. Then we have extended the JPA repository. We just extended our JPA repository, and inside it what we have done, we have just provided our object, which is a student. We have provided the object for our student class. Why? Because we have to provide the entity here on which table we have to perform the operation. We will define this table here, and this table is coming from our student object. Correct. So we have only provided the student object here. Then we have provided the integer here. Is it clear? Inside it as well, we will create something. We can write at the rate. We have data here as well, but we haven't used Lombok till now. So we will not get it. But I think no R constructor. We have to install a dependency for it. If we want a no R constructor or constructor will be created by annotation. So to use this, what we have to do, we have to download the dependency or install a dependency name as Lombok. So we haven't any dependency till now. So we will create getters and setters. First, what we will do, we will create getters and setters for, I think we can create for everything. And after that, after these getters and setters, we will generate our constructor as well, all parameter constructor, and we will create a no arc constructor as well. So we have created a no arc constructor as well, and one is all parameter constructor. And these are the some getters and setters we have created. What are the getters and setters? To access these variables. Correct. We have created these getters and setters to access these variables because they are private. Is it clear what we have done till now? Let's see. Using this one line, what we have done? Using this one line, we have what we have done. It already configured our multiple methods, or we can say multiple functions of our SQL. When we write this line, it already configures multiple MySQL operations by just this line. What are these operations? We can say save. We got save, find all. We got find by ID. We got delete. We got count. We got exist, and without writing any SQL. So these are auto implemented. Whenever we created an interface like this and created use the JPA repository here, so these are automatically generated by our JPA repository. We don't have to write each and everything for these functions. They will be, we will get these functions directly. So can anyone say how many SQL queries we have written to perform these functions? How many SQL queries we have to write when we are using JPA? How many SQL queries we have to write to perform these functions? Can anyone tell? Zero. Correct. So whenever we are using our interface JPA repository, we don't have to write any SQL queries for these functions. Like now, how we will use them? How we will use them? How we will use them? So for this, let's say we have created table. We have created repository here. Now we need something called as for now we will remove this and we have to inside our home controller, we have to we will write something like anything, and we will comment out these things. Clear? So, and inside this controller, I will create new controller, name as student controller. Okay. And inside this student service, we will write some methods. What are the methods we will write? First, we have to create, or we can say we have to inject our repository inside this. We have to, we can say we have to inject repository inside our service. Clear? What we have to do? We have to inject repository inside our service. Like we have injected our student service inside our home controller. We have injected our service inside our controller, right? So we have to inject our repository also here. How we will inject this? So for this, I will create private final student repository here and repository. Clear? Now, how to inject it? We have there are two methods. One is auto wire. Second one is constructor injection. So we will use constructor injection here. Public student service, and inside this we will need student repository and write this what happened? There is wrong where something went wrong here. So what we have to do here? We have to create a constructor which will defining our repository inside it. So we have to write this dot repository equal to repository. So that's how we will inject our repository inside it. Is it clear how we will inject it? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Uh, I will share my screen again. So it is visible. My screen is visible. Inside this service, what we were doing, we have lost the code here. We have to rewrite it again. So instead of this, I will write it interface, and here what we have to write at the rate repository stands. We have to extend JPA repository here, and inside it I will pass student comma integer. So that's how our repository is created. Now inside our student service, what we will do? Inside our student service, we will inject our private final student repository here. Then we will create a constructor here, public student service, and inside student repository, and inside it this dot repository equal to. So that's how our dependency injection for student repository will work. Clear? Is it clear? Is it clear what we have to do here? Now what I can do? I will create a function named as save. We will save a student inside our database. We will create a data student inside our database. How we'll do this? Public student. We will do public student save, and inside this we will take student, and we will just call our repository dot save. Inside this we will pass our students. Clear? So what we will do? We will create a function name as save, which is, or we can say create student. Instead of save, we will create student here. Correct? So I have created a function name as student, create student. Correct? Inside this, we have passing parameter as student, and return repository dot save. Clear? Or for now, we will create a constructor here. We have created a constructor, and we will generate getter setters as well. Okay, we got getter setters, we got constructor here. Inside this, we have student controller, and we have to write rest controller here. Correct? We have to write rest controller here, and inside this rest controller, what we have to write? We have to write at the rate request mapping. Inside this request mapping, we can write all routes from students. So here what we will do, we will write request mapping and correct. So here what we have done, we have created a REST controller. Inside it, we are writing a request mapping. So what is the use of this request mapping? So inside this student controller, each and every API we have write will start from slash students. Correct? It will start from slash students. Now what we have to do inside this? We have to create the student service as well. So from here we will copy this and paste it here. So instead of home controller, we need student controller. Correct. So we have injected our service here. We have injected our student service inside it. Now what we have to do? We have to change anything which is created as students from here as well. So it will not give us a contradictory result. After that, what we have to do? We have to get some value from our user. How we will get this? To create a student first. to create a student, what we will use? We will use post mapping. What we will use? We will use post mapping here. So what is the post mapping? How we will add a student here? We will create a function at the rate post mapping and public student add student, and inside it, now how we will get the data from our student? How we will get data from our student, or we can say how we will get our data from browser? We have their request body. I have explained in the earlier classes what it is. It has HTTP methods like HTTP request and HTTP response. We have HTTP request and HTTP response here. So what we have to do here? What we have to do here? We have to write a request body, and using this request body, what we are taking as input? Student. Inside this request body, what we are taking the input? Student here. Now what we have to do? We just return service. Oh, sorry, service dot create a student, and we will pass this student here. So will it work? Will it work like this? Will it work like this? If we write a student service, we use student service here, and we have sent our create a student. Inside this create a student, what we are doing? We are just saving this into using our repository. Correct? So for this, we will run this program, and we will go to this URL. What is this URL? Can anyone tell? We have got something called as Swagger UI. From where we are getting this? From where we are getting this Swagger UI? We are getting this from our open inside pom.xml. We have added some dependency name as Spring Doc Open API Starter Web MVC UI. We have added a dependency here Spring Doc Open API Starter Web MVC UI. So what it will provide? It will provide us this UI. Inside it, any, we can say anything, or we can say any API we have created inside our program, it automatically will be listed here, and we can test it directly from here. So if we want to try this students API, what we have to do? We have to try it. We will click on this try it. Now what we have to provide? We have to provide ID here. I will provide name here. Inside this, what we will do? We will provide something like, I will provide my name here. I will provide some age. Then I will provide something like this. And for marks, I will provide anything. Correct? Now, if we try to execute this, so if our program is correct, or if our query is corrected, then it will return us 200. Okay. And example value mein, it will return the data what we have returned here. So what it will get? We have run this program, and this is our value inside it. Local error response status is 500. Why we will get this error? Let's check. Let's check why we got this error. No default constructor for entity. See, here we haven't defined any default constructor for our student. That's why it is giving us error. So inside this student, what we have to do? we have to create a default constructor as well. What is the default constructor? Select none and create it. Now we will rerun this program again. Stop and rerun this program again. And now rerun this query. So after running this, 0 here, here a 0. Still we are getting some error. What is the error? Row was already updated or deleted by another transaction for entity. Okay, we have created ID 0 here and we are providing the ID. So let's write this. What is the query we are running here? Student ID error in this for servlet context entity student with ID 11. Row was already updated or deleted by another transaction for entity. So we see write this and we polish and here what you will do? Select it is empty set, correct? And this is students here. We will just remove this. I think if we are creating a constructor, it will give us, it can give us some errors. Now, what is the error we are getting? Row was already updated or deleted by another transaction for entity. What is the error we are getting? ID, age, city, marks, name. Okay. It is trying to update, but we don't have anything like this. So what we can do? We have to create something student. We will create a new student here as one new student and student dot get name student dot get age student dot get city student dot get marks. Okay. So what we will do here inside this student class, we have to create a. We will do this again and student service. We created a student here without ID. Now what we have done, we have created a student without ID and we run this program. Now see if it will work or not. Now execute this query. Okay. So what we got? 200 response body. ID is 2 here. Correct. ID is automatically generated. Why we are getting error first? Why we were getting error first? Because we have providing ID as well. We were providing ID here as well. Correct. So it is was searching for that ID inside our program. It was searching this ID. If this ID existed on our program, if it is not finding any like object for it, so it will be returning error for us. For now, what we have done in this query, what we have done in this query, we have created a student without ID. We have created a student without ID here. So it will just create a student with new ID. Why? Because we have already inserted, or we can say we have already done the program like this. So it will auto increment the ID. So it will auto increment the ID here. Correct? Is it clear why we are getting error first? Now, if we see this, see what we get ID as 1, age 20, Lucknow, or these are repeated by 2. Why? Because we have execute this query 2 times. So it has automatically incremented ID here, and it has created a object here, or we can say it has created a row here. So we have executed this 2 times. So that's why it is giving us 2 values inside our table. Correct? Similarly, what we can do to create a find. Now, how we are checking it, like inside the we are writing a SQL query, then we are getting the data, correct? Now, how we can write a function public uh, list of student. What is this? It is a list of student class, and inside this, what we call this get student. We create a function name as get student. Now, how we can get the data from student table? How we'll get the data from student table? Return. We already have service, correct? Oh, sorry, repository. We already have repository here. Repository dot find all. Correct. We have a repository here. So using this repository, what we will do? We will just call our find all function here. So using this find all function, we will get every record from our table. We will get every record from our table using this find all function here. So we have to create a mapping for it as well. So instead of post mapping, what we will do? We will create a get mapping and public inside our controller. What we have to do? We have to write a function for it as well. Get mapping list, and inside this list, what we are importing? Student, and get student function here. Then we will be return service dot get student. Correct. So that much easy is to perform any operation inside our database using Hibernate or JPA. What we are doing, we are just writing a one line. We are just writing a one line here. See this. Inside our student service, what we have written? Inside our student service, what we have written? Only we have created a function name as list student, get student. Then what we have done? Return repository find all. What we have done? We have used return repository dot find all. And what it will do? It will give us every result from this student table. Let's see. If we refresh this, what we will get? We get 2 APIs here. Now what we have? We have 2 APIs here. What are the APIs? First is get API. Second is post API. So if we run this program, or if we run this API, what we will get? We run this API, what we will get? We got each and every row inside our SQL student table. we get each and every row inside our SQL table, correct? So this is easy, or what we are doing first was easy. So whenever we run this command, or whenever we have executed this API, what it done? It created this query. What is this? Select S10 ID, age, city, marks, name from student S10. So this is the query it runs. Correct? It has written down the query automatically here. Correct? Clear? How we can get the student list here? How we can get the student list here? Is it clear? Now, see one thing. If we have to write a program, we have to write a program to get the student by ID. Get the student by ID. How will write it? Public student get student by ID. I have written down this program, and inside it we have used integer ID. We got the integer ID here. Then what we have to do? We have to just return repository dot, we have repository dot find by ID. What we have? Find by ID function here. Then we will just pass this ID inside it. What we have to do? We have to pass the ID here. Then why it is giving us error? Why it is giving us error? Because it says it can be optional. This output can be optional. Why it is optional? Because think if we have provided some ID which is not which not exist inside our database. We have written down here 11. User written down the ID as 11, which is not inside our database. So it can give us error. So to handle it, what we can do, if our data is existed, then it will return that data. Otherwise, or else, what we will return, or else we will return null here. What we will do, we will add or else function here, and if our find by ID return us null value, or we can say find by ID is not existed, then it will return or else. If student object is not existed for that ID, it will return null value. Clear? Similarly, we can also create function for delete as well. Public student, or we can say string delete student integer ID. Clear? Repository dot delete by ID, and after that, what we have to do? After delete by ID, we will return, or what we can do? Return deleted. Can we write it? We will return deleted successfully. And now what we have to do? We have to create a @get mapping. What we have to? We have to create a get mapping here for ID as well. Correct? We have to create a get mapping for our ID as well. Now, how we will get the ID from our user? How we will get the ID from our user? How our user will enter ID from browser? For it, what we have? We can directly use this function, this thing. We will write it like this: ID and public student get student. And for this, what we can do, we will overload this function. How we will overload? We will get path variable integer ID. What is this path variable here? This path variable is this dynamic ID here. It can be dynamically written. It can be written dynamically. So we will read this ID from path variable integer ID here. Correct? Is it clear how we are reading this integer ID here? We are reading this from here. It is a dynamic ID. It can be anything. So let's do service, or we will return service dot get student by ID and here ID. Clear? Now we will create any delete mapping as well. We will create delete mapping here, and for delete mapping we also provide some ID here as well. We also have to provide ID here. So how we will get the ID? Similarly, from path variable public string public string delete student. We will write delete student here at the rate. Similarly, path variable, and it will be integer ID and service dot delete student by ID and return student deleted. Here we will remove it from here. Why? Because if any error occurs inside our, we will not write it like this. We will make it void. For now, we don't have to write it in two places. Like if this function work correctly, it will return us inside this student controller. It will run this line. Otherwise, it will give us error. So it will be already handled. Clear? So rerun this program. What we have done, we have created two functions here. One is get by ID. Second one is delete by ID. Clear? Now refresh this. What we will get? Inside this, we get two new APIs. What we get? Here, what we get? We got two new APIs, or we can directly write it localhost 8081 student. If we write student here, and what was students? Correct. If we run this program, what we will get? We are getting 404 for get students. What will be the output for us? Okay, we have mistake in the URL, which is we are not writing students. We are writing. We have missed. Correct. If we write our this API like this as well, so we will also get our output here as well. Correct. We will get our output here as well. If I have to, but what will happen if I have to delete 2? What will happen if I have to delete the value for 2? Like I have to delete this duplicate entry. How we will delete it? How we will delete it when we have to delete the value for this entry? If we try to delete it from here, it will just give us get mapping. it will just give us get mapping. So it will always calling this get students id, but we will not able to call this, or we will not able to call this directly from browser. If we try to call this value or this API from browser, it will not allow us, it will not allow us to enter the post value or delete API directly from browser. So to use these APIs, what we need some interface. It can be Swagger, or we can say these are the API testing interfaces. We can say these are the API testing interfaces. One is Swagger. We are currently using Swagger here. We can have Postman. We can use Postman as well, and there can be other softwares as well, so we can use them for it. So currently what we are using Swagger here. We are using Swagger here. So if I have to get the value for 2, we can directly write here 2 and execute. So what we will get, we will get the what response body. Inside this response body we are getting the output correctly. Now what we can do, if we have to delete something, what we will have to do, if I write 2 and execute it, what it will do? Student deleted successfully. What it returns? It returns student deleted successfully here. Now, if we try to execute this student get by ID function, where we are writing the ID to, what we will get? We are getting empty value here. We are not getting anything here. If we run this program again, what we will get? Empty value here. We are getting null value here. Correct? If I write 1 here, we will get correct value. But when we try to write the 2 here, so it will return null value. Clear? Is it clear how our APIs works? How we can create APIs? So today what we have done, we have created a project where inside this project we have created a student directly using data from database. We have created a get student function where we can find the data from our database. We have created a get student by id function where we are getting our student using id. Clear? Then we have created a delete mapping using id. We will be deleting our student here as well. So is it clear till now? Any doubt in this, what we have done? So this will be the basic structure of our any project. When we are trying to create a project, this will be the basic structure we have to follow. Clear? Now tell me one thing. Did we write any SQL query till now? Did we write any SQL query till now? Or not? No. Why? Because each and everything is handled by JPA Hibernate. Hibernate is writing every query by itself. We can also write customized queries as well inside it, but basic queries are handled by automatically JPA. We haven't created any table. We haven't written any query for these things like add a student, get a student, or get a student by ID, delete a student by ID. We haven't written any query for it. It is all handled by our Hibernate. So it makes our work easier. That's why, and see, our code is looking to like if we say our code is looking cleaner or not. Our code is looking cleaner or not. Ayusukla, like what is the difficult part here where you haven't understand it? Understood. Ayush, any doubt? Any part you haven't understood here? Like first, what we have done, we have created a repository here. What we have done, We have created a repository here. Inside this repository, what we are doing, we are created an interface student repository here. Then we are extending it inside using JPA repository. We are creating our repository. Inside it, we have passed our student object, and or we can say we have passed our student entity inside, then integer. Clear? Then first what we have done, we have created a student class here. Inside this class, using this class, what we are getting? We are getting our table. And this inside this student service, what we have done? We have just call our repository. What we have done? We have call our repository and save. We have called this functions already defined by our Hibernate or JPA. So we are just using those functions here. We have when we need to save our student, we are using repository.save. When we need to find something, we will be using repository.findAll. If we have to find by ID, we are using this, and we have to delete, we are using this. Is it clear? And inside this student controller, what we have done? Inside this student controller, what we have done? We have just called these methods from our service directly. Inside this request body, student request body. Why we are using request body? Because using this request body, we can get the input from our user. How our user gives input? Using this request body. If we haven't provided this request body, we are not able to write this input here. We will not be able to write this input here. So using this request body, we are asking our user to write the input. Correct? And here we have provided a ID here, dynamic ID. So it will be getting from our path variable. How we are getting it from path variable? Students slash 2. So that's how our dynamic ID working here. Similarly for our delete mapping as well. So that's all what we have learned today. So any doubt in this till now? We have created 4 API, but you can see that how much cleaner our code is looking using annotations only. We know there we are using a REST controller, that's why it is a controller. If we see this line, we already know that this is our controller. If we see entity here, we will know this is our table. And if we see repository here, it will already know that we are creating repository here. And if we see service here, we already know that this is our service class, correct? So it will be easy to read, easy to maintain. Our code will be clear using annotations. We won't have to write multiple things. We won't have to worry about connections. We won't have to worry about configuration. So that's how we will use our Spring Boot to create an application. So here what we have done, we have created some APIs, application program interface. Clear? Is it clear? So for homework, what we you can do? For homework, you can create a function name as update student. You can create a function name as update student. Clear? And you can also create like something marks or try to update marks. And you can also create new entity as well. New entity, which is course. You can just create a course, and for course, what you have to do, you have to write CRUD functions only. You have to write CRUD functions for new entity course. Correct? Inside course, you will be writing a course name, course details, and everything. And you have to perform CRUD operation on it. Clear? It will be similar to the student. You will get an idea if you see this thing. So I will update this code as well. Exit, add, hit commit. Okay. So this is the link. I will share it. You will also get this link inside our description as well. You will get this link in our description of this video. So okay guys, so write your feedback. You can write your feedback in comment as well directly, and we will end this.